My wife tried to replace me with a younger version of myself while I was in a coma. I've always been a guy who takes care of things. I worked as a structural engineer, I maintained our 1920s craftsman home with my own hands, and I made sure my wife, Elena, never had to worry about a single bill. We were the couple everyone envied. 10 years of marriage, and I still brought her flowers every Friday. But then a distracted driver ran a red light while I was biking home, and everything went black. I was in a medically induced coma for 6 months. When I finally started to wake up, the world felt like it was made of thick gray fog. I could hear voices before I could open my eyes. I heard Elena's voice, which should have been a comfort, but she wasn't talking to me. She was laughing. It was that specific. A flirty laugh she used to save for our anniversary dinners. I struggled for days to get my eyes to track, to get my fingers to twitch. The doctors called it a miracle, but I kept my progress quiet at first because I was confused. Every time Elena visited, she wasn't alone. She was with a guy named Julian. Julian was 26, exactly 10 years younger than me. He had the same dark hair, the same build, and he was even wearing my favorite vintage leather jacket that I'd kept in the back of our closet. I watched through squinted eyes as they sat in my hospital room. Elena would hold my hand with her left hand, but her right hand was laced with Julian's. They talked about our house, about the new renovations they were planning for the kitchen I had spent 3 years saving to remodel. Julian was sitting in my chair. I'd drinking the specific brand of coffee I liked and calling my wife baby. The betrayal was a cold, sharp blade in my chest. But the real kicker came when I overheard them talking to a lawyer in the hallway. Elena was trying to get me declared legally incompetent so she could sell my grandfather's antique car collection and the house to fund a fresh start for her and Julian in California. She told the lawyer I was basically a vegetable and that keeping me alive was just a formality. I decided right then that if I was going to come back, I was going to do it with maximum impact. I worked with the physical therapist in secret during the hours Elena was at work. I pushed through the white-hot pain of my muscles atrophying until I could stand. I made the nurses promise not to tell her I was mobile. The day of the final competency hearing was held in my hospital suite because the judge wanted to see my condition. Elena showed up looking like a grieving widow in expensive black silk. Julian was there too, standing in the corner, looking uncomfortable in one of my tailored suits. The judge asked Elena if there had been any change in my status. She wiped a fake tear and said, "No, Your Honor, it's so heartbreaking. He's just gone. We need to move on for his sake." That was my cue. I didn't just open my eyes. I sat bolt upright in the bed. The room went silent enough to hear the hum of the heart monitor. I looked directly at Elena, then at Julian, and then at the judge. "I'm not gone, Elena," I said. My voice was raspy, like I'd swallowed sandpaper, but it was clear enough to make her drop her designer handbag. "And Julian, now you're stretching the shoulders on that suit. It never fit you right anyway." The judge's eyebrows shot into his hairline. Elena turned a shade of white I didn't know was possible. She tried to rush to the bed, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away. "Your Honor, I've been awake for 3 weeks," I told the judge. "I have recordings on my phone, which the nurses kindly helped me retrieve, of my wife and her boyfriend discussing how to liquidate my estate while I was laying right here." I handed over the phone. I'd used the voice memo app during their visits when they thought I was unconscious. The judge listened to Elena laughing about how much the old man's car collection would fetch at auction. He heard Julian talking about how he couldn't wait to move into their new house. The hearing didn't go the way Elena planned, and instead of getting control of my life, she got served with divorce papers 48 hours later. Since we had a rock-solid prenup that specifically mentioned infidelity and bad faith actions, she walked away with absolutely nothing. I'm back in my house now. It took another 4 months of rehab to walk without a cane, but I did it. I sold the leather jacket Julian wore. I didn't want the smell of him on it. I also sold the house. It had too many echoes